Julia Child transformed how America cooked. Delia Smith did the same in Britain, but in a completely different way. Why did these two women define food culture on opposite sides of the Atlantic? I'm Gary from Big Spud, and I'm fascinated by the similarities and differences between these two cooking legends and how they're revered in their home countries. But perhaps even more fascinated at the legacies left behind. And why don't we talk about Delia the same way we talk about Julia? Let's take a look at these incredible cooks, and to help us understand them, I'll be cooking their same dish with their own unique takes on it. In the 1960s, America met Julia Child.
Hello, I'm Julia Child.
Her PBS show, The French Chef, introduced ordinary families to coq au vin, omelettes.
How about dinner in half a minute?
And perhaps even the idea of French wine in the kitchen. She wasn't just a teacher, she was a presenter, laughing and making the occasional mistake.
That was a mistake. To add the bacon again, there it is, I didn't know where I'd put it.
It's her confidence that brought a new theatricality to American kitchens. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, Britain was still in recovery mode from post-war rationing. Food was plain, unadventurous, and variety was still rare. You had a generation of housewives starting to enter the workplace as well as raising children, so time was scarce. By the 1970s, BBC introduced Delia Smith.
Hello, welcome to Family Fare.
No flambe pans, no exotic wine, just calm, precise instructions. Her mission to teach the basics.
And why should you be able to cook if no one's ever shown you? How strange that people are expected to just leave school and then suddenly start cooking.
Julia gave America aspiration. Delia gave Britain competence. Julia Child was exuberant. She had this unforgettable warble in her voice.
The quality of the bacon is usually better than the quality of salt pork.
She laughed through the mistakes, and she made you feel like French cooking was fun, even if you burnt the soufflé.
It's perfect. It's just perfect. Soufflé gourmet.
Delia Smith? Kind of the opposite.
And the next thing you need to do is you need to cut them into even-sized chunks.
She rarely joked on camera, still warm and friendly, but all business. She measured, she timed, she checked, and she repeated. Her voice was schoolteacher-like, her instructions exact.
You can serve them hot if you want to, some people prefer that, but I think they're better room temperature. So
Julia was a theatre director, Delia was the headmistress, but both inspiring in their own way. That's exactly what their audiences needed. Americans in the 60s, hungry for glamour and sophistication, loved Julia's exotic French recipes. Britons in the 1970s, looking for inspiration, needed someone to teach them to give it a go. Their impact can't be overstated. In the US, Julia Child legitimised French cooking for the middle classes. She showed that anybody could try a casserole or a hollandaise sauce. She inspired a whole generation of American chefs. She's quoted by Alice Waters and Thomas Keller, amongst others. Even the food TV boom we take for granted today. In Britain, Delia Smith quietly built the nation's kitchen confidence. When she taught roast potatoes, suddenly everyone had to try her version. When she made cranberry sauce, supermarkets sold out of cranberries overnight. This became known as the Delia effect, the power of one woman's TV show to change the nation's shopping list and the stocks of grocery stores up and down the UK. Julia Child remains a cultural icon in America. Books, TV shows, the reruns, even a Hollywood film, Julia and Delia, and bless him, good old Jamie over at Auntie Chef. They all keep her name alive. She's remembered as larger than life, with a kitchen philosophy that embracing the fun. Delia, on the other hand, more subdued. She stepped away from TV in the 2000s, but her books still sell. Her Christmas specials live on in memory, and her methods are woven into how Britain cooks today. Now, to really see the differences between Julia and Delia, I'm going to make the same dish by both. Beef bourguignon. Julia Child's, of course, almost famous for this recipe. Almost made her name with it. The very first thing she made on The French Chef, and remade it countless times afterwards. Julia's version, the one everyone knows, big chunks of beef browned carefully, bottle of red wine, bacon, onions, mushrooms. Delia has a similar recipe for the full thing, but the one I want to try today is her cheat version. And all-in-one casserole. So to start with Julia Child's version then, we begin by blanching the bacon. This kind of dampens down the bacon flavour so it doesn't overpower the stew. I'm also going to use this water to just quickly blanch my onions. This will help me peel them later on. I've got some lean diced beef here, which I'm just going to brown off in batches so as not to crowd the pan so that the steam can escape. I'm going to add a few shakes of flour as well, and that's going to coat the beef and give it a little crust and just help thicken up the sauce while it goes. I'm also going to add a chopped onion and carrot and deglaze that pan with plenty of red wine. Add in the bacon and the beef back into the pan with a little thyme, a little bay. I can cover it over and leave it in the oven, a low oven, about 150, 140 degrees C. That's this in Fahrenheit, and we'll just leave that in the oven to do its thing for about 3 hours, stirring once or twice when I can be bothered. In the meantime, we're going to prep our onions and mushrooms. The mushrooms, quite simply, given a quick rinse and then simmered gently in a little butter until browned, and then pop them to the side, ready for the final dish. And then for our onions, I'm just going to add a little butter and a little rich beef stock and just simmer them under a cartouche for about 20 to 25 minutes until knife tender. Again, once they're done, I'll reserve and add at the end. So after 3 hours, we check whether we need to thicken the sauce. So I'm simply going to add back in my onions and mushrooms and bring everything back up to a heat. So on to Delia's version then, which I'm taking from her How to Cheat cookbook. As I said earlier, she has got the real authentic French version in her book, but what we're going to do here is use the cheat version, where literally we add beef, bacon, mushrooms, some garlic, onion, these jarred onions that come in a balsamic vinegar. These are available at a lot of supermarkets if you look around the posh ingredient section. Some thyme, some bay, toss with a little flour, and then top up with wine and cover, and again cook for about 3 hours on a 140°C oven. And that's it. So here we are with our two casseroles side by side, serving of course with mash, a few charred greens and a little red cabbage stewed down. Great accompaniments, I think, the comforting and the sharp and tasty. So we have Julia Child's first look. It's exactly what you think it should be. It's a rich golden brown colour. The meat is all knobbly and gnarly. The mushrooms are still intact. The onions are still intact. And it really looks the piece. Delia's on the other hand, if I didn't have Julia's to look at, I'd think this is a perfectly good stew. It's a little on the grey side. I think that's to do with the wine personally. Maybe the wine hasn't evaporated away the same way. But you can still make things out. The onions have broken down in this one. So let's try Julia Child's version. So a strong, beefy flavour, just what you want when it's been raining outside and you come in from the cold. Very warming. With a big old helping of mash, that'll be absolutely delicious. Now let's try Delia's cheat version. So I just want to make it clear, these are the same base ingredients. They come from the same supermarket, the same range. I'm not using the premium versus the basic. Literally, same stuff from the same supermarket. Tesco's if you're interested, not Spon. This one, it tastes completely different. Yes, clearly it's a beef casserole, but the acidity, the wine flavour is far more pronounced. Now I don't know if that's because the wine hasn't had a chance to evaporate off, or whether it's those balsamic onions lending extra vinegary taste to that entire stew. They're both excellent casseroles and you'd be really happy with both. And this is in no way a competition, nor a knock on either of them. But I do Delia's every day of the week, literally for that reason, because you can do it in the week. Pour it all into a casserole dish and bake it, and it's done. No browning, no separating of the items. And those jarred onions in balsamic vinegar, they absolutely make the dish. Julia's is an incredible, timeless classic, and it's really good and exactly what a beef stew should be. But I much prefer the flavours of Delia's one I said, this is not a competition. They're both excellent. Personally, Delia's chimes with me more. So who had the bigger impact, Julia or Delia? Well, that's not the right question. They both did the same job in different ways. Julia brought aspiration and glamour to America. Delia brought order and reassurance to Britain. 2 women, 2 nations, 2 styles. Together they proved that cooking on TV could change how a country eats, and that's something worth remembering. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did and you know someone else who would enjoy that, please hit the share button and send it to them on an email or a WhatsApp or something like that. It helps the channel grow enormously. Thanks very much, and I'll catch you next time.